Hey guys, it's Karen from A Yarn Tale. I'm coming to you from Chicago, where I live with my husband, our 3 kids, and our dog Max. This is a knitting podcast, and today's a little bit of an extra episode where I'm going to quick go through what I've been working on, but also, and most importantly, we're going to pick the winners for the Knit Us Together 2022 Cal. So we have been knitting tin can knits patterns all for the last couple of months, and it's just about time to pick winners from the Instagram hashtag and also the Ravelry FO thread for the podcast group for this podcast. So let's get right into it. I'm going to do the winners first because if you're just popping on to see if you won, you can check that out. And if you have time to stick around for the knitting talk, please feel free to do so. So quick look at the prizes. Our first prize is this project bag by Miss Ginger Handmade. She sells only on Instagram, so I'll put her handle down below. And there's this strawberry print on the inside and a gingham check on the outside with a matching gingham pocket on the inside as well. There's these really lovely rope closures and a sturdy handle, so nothing's gonna catch on your knitting. And I've been using one myself. They're really fantastic bags. So there's this, and then a skein of 75/25 superwash merino nylon sock yarn from Life in the Long Grass, and this is the colorway Fuller's Clay. A really beautiful speckled variegated colorway. In addition to the project bag and the yarn, the winner that I pulled from the Instagram hashtag will also get a copy of the cyclone cardigan that was designed by Jana from Knitting a Mauritius podcast. And it's a beautiful chunky cardigan that should be a really quick and fun knit. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. And the winner is, what's her name? Handcrafted by Dorothy. She knit a beautiful grain shawl out of this black and white colorway. I'm not sure if it's 1 strand or 2, but it is just really beautiful. So congratulations, Dorothy. Feel free to email me or message me on Instagram or really any way that or on Ravelry, however you would like to get in touch with me. And let me know your actual human name and address, and I will get these out to you as soon as possible so that you can knit something up. And then our next winner will win project bag number 2, also from Ginger Handmade. There's this yellow print on the front and then a beautiful floral print on the inside, again with a matching pocket that matches the fabric from the front. Rope ties and a yellow handle and a skein of, this is 366 meters of superwash merino singles from Fine Fish Yarns in the colorway Bacall. This is just like a really beautiful speckled variegated colorway that would make some fantastic socks. So these two together, the project bag and the yarn, along with a copy of the cyclone cardigan from Anna Getz, will go to the winner that I pulled from the Ravelry group. And the first one is from, wait, let me look, Kelly. Her Instagram handle name is Kel Grant, and she knit a beautiful love note, which just turned out fantastic. So congratulations, Kelly. It looks like you're in Germany, so feel free to get in touch with me and let me know your address. It might take a bit to get there, but I'm happy to send it off. And then we actually have a third skein of yarn, which, where did I put it? Oh yes, here. We have a third skein of yarn from Suburban Stitcher in the colorway Shelter. This is their sock yarn, 75/25 superwash merino nylon. It's like this beautiful lavender gray and some speckles. I'm gonna throw in these stitch markers that came from Miss Ginger Handmade. She threw them in with the project bags. So those two together, along with a copy of the pattern from Anna Getz for the cyclone cardigan, will go to, I'm gonna pull another one from the Ravelry group because there were a lot more entrants in the Ravelry group than there were for the Instagram. So just to even it out. The last and final winner from the Ravelry thread is 904 Stephanie. So congratulations, Stephanie. She knit an antler cardigan that just turned out fantastic. So congratulations, you guys are so talented. You made such wonderful projects. If you haven't had a chance, please check out the Instagram hashtag and the FO thread. And congratulations to all of our winners. Again, get in touch with me and I'll get this out as fast as I can. Okay, so that is the news from the knit along. And then I just wanted to go over a little bit what I have been working on because you guys, I've become mildly obsessed. So you might remember lots of months ago, I bought some bare yarn from Knit Picks because I tried to naturally dye the yarn with avocado pits and it was a complete and total failure. I can link the episode here if you want to see my gross flesh colored yarn that it's supposed to be pink. It was not at all pink. But anyway, I had a bunch of leftover worsted weight yarn, just bare yarn from Knit Picks, and some DK bare yarn from Knit Picks, both non-superwash. I'm not sure why I bought non-superwash, maybe because I was trying to do the avocado pits and I figured like that's kind of natural and maybe non-superwash is also kind of natural, so I'll just go with that vibe. But I had a bunch of bare yarn sitting around that I kind of just didn't do anything with. So recently I bought a starter kit from Dharma, what's the dye place? Dharma Trading Company. And it had a couple of their acid dyes and some citric acid. And I figured, you know, I'm just gonna bite the bullet and try to dye up some bare yarn and see what I get. So I have really low expectations. My first skein was this one, because I was just trying to get a handle on like how acid dyes work and what you're supposed to do and how you don't felt your yarn. So this is just like this super bright blue. These are all going to be worsted weight non-superwash that I show you. So this one turned out pretty well. It is super solid. I think because I didn't really measure the dye powder, I just chucked it all in there. And I think I went a little overboard because like there's no variation, there's no tonality to it. It's just like, whoopah, really bright blue. But great, I didn't felt it, and I, washed it, and all the dye took. There was no bleeding when I washed it out, so I was happy with that. And then I was like, okay, I gotta tone it down because I don't ever really knit with colors that are this saturated unless I'm knitting for my girls. So, I guess a hat, I don't know. So I was like, okay, I gotta tone it down if I'm gonna use this for myself. So I made this minty color, which I really love. There is some variation, but it's so light that it's actually really hard to see. It just kind of came out as like a solid minty green. On the screen it's looking kind of off-white, but I swear it's mint. So there's this. And then I was sort of on the pastel train because I thought if I get a good color, then I'll dye up that DK bare yarn to make the Streamers pullover by James Watts. So I was like, okay, I could do something like this in the DK and then maybe like a lavendery color. So I did this one. This one had a little bit of variation in it. Like right there, there's a little bit of more of a pinky color. But overall, it's just like a really light, pale lavender, which I like. If I were gonna dye it again, I probably would make it a little bit more saturated because that's like pretty muted. But they look good together. They look good. And then I was cleaning up my dye and I just chucked it in a pot and threw some speckles on it. So this made my kindergartner really happy. She was like, Mom, that's beautiful, and especially these dark parts. So I might have to make something for her with it because she is kind of obsessed with it. I left it on the dining room table and she keeps like touching it and looking at it. Maybe one day she will be a yarn lover as well because she really did seem to be taken with this one. And then finally, and my most favorite of all, I dyed up. I'm trying to do things that I would actually use because I like how these turned out. But these are not really my colors if I were choosing. They're just like a little bit too vibrant. So I'm trying to look for like deeper or more muted colors, something that I would be more likely to buy or use. So I came up with this one. It's kind of like it's definitely, there is a little bit of variation, but I wouldn't call it variegated. It's just kind of like an oceany color. So if you open it up, you can see a little bit, there is some variation in there as far as darks and lights. It actually shows up more in person. Let me see if I can find a dark part. Well, I don't know. Anyway, there you go. When you spread it out, you can see a little bit. There is definitely some variation in depth of shade, but I really like how it turned out. Okay, another thing. I don't know how all these yarn dyers make these beautiful skeins of yarn because I worked my butt off to get this one to twist up, and it still looks kind of off kilter. I don't know how they do that. Is there a trick? Because if there is a trick, I do not know it. I just basically twist it and twist it and twist it and then try to put it together, but it always either is way too loose or way too tight, and then I don't know. Okay, we're gonna try it. Ah! Or then there's like a single piece that pulls out, like right there. Great, good job, Karen. Okay, hang on, we're gonna get it in there. I should have just left it how it is, because that one was pretty good. Okay, so that's fine, but it's pretty loose. But anyway, this is my most favorite. So now I'm kind of obsessed, and I'm like, what else can I dye, and what else can I buy to dye? I don't know what I'm gonna do with all this yarn. I'm gonna have to start knitting faster. That is the answer. I'm gonna have to try to knit faster because there's so many things. I definitely cannot hit a target. Like if I have a color in mind and I'm trying to dye up that color, whatever I choose doesn't end up that color. But sometimes I like where I ended up anyway. So I'm trying to be more open-minded and not such of a control freak, and just sort of enjoy the process and see what I get. So I don't know, when I first started dyeing up these skeins, I thought that I would use the worsted weight bare skeins that I had to come up with some colorways that I liked to use to then dye onto the DK bare skeins to use in the James Watts streamers pullover. But my dyeing was kind of all over the map, and I like this one, but I don't know if I would like it in a sweater, and I like this one, but like, do they go together? I don't know. And I like this one, but like, I'm not really feeling that as a sweater. So my point is, I think I need more practice before I actually commit to dyeing for a specific project. So I'm just gonna go with that. In the meantime, I probably will buy yarn that's already dyed to knit up that pattern because I really do love it, or just sort of try to knit up some of the stuff that I dyed and pick projects after the fact once I see what I have. Because I can't really predict where the colors are gonna go. So it's hard for me to have a project in mind, dye for that project, and then have it turn out the way that I want. So I'm just sort of not at that point. I have been knitting on basically one project. So I showed the spot sweater by Ventzel on my last podcast episode, and it's coming along. The body is done. Last time I had finished the first sleeve. In the meantime, I picked up stitches for the neck and knit a couple inches of twisted rib. And then you were supposed to bind off while you're sort of sewing it down. But a lot of people on Ravelry said that when you do it that way, the neckline comes out way too tight and it's really hard to fit your head through. So I followed the advice of some of the people who've made this project before, and I just did after I knit it to the length that I wanted, I did a stretchy bind off. I don't even remember the one I did. I just literally Googled stretchy bind off and did it as loosely as I could. And then I whip stitched it down after the fact. And like, I don't think it looks that bad. And it's definitely, the whip stitching is on the inside, so you won't see it. And it is definitely stretchy enough. Like I can fit my head in there, no problem. And it fits properly, like it lays well when I have it on. So I picked up stitches for the second sleeve. I didn't pick up. I had the stitches on waste yarn. Oh my gosh, what's going on with my yarn? Okay, I had the stitches on waste yarn and I put those on the needles, and I'm working on the second sleeve. So I think I have like 7 or 8 more repeats before I'm done with the sleeve, and then I just have to put on that short little bit of ribbing. That looks like this. And look how virtuous I am. I already wove in my ends. Who am I? What is happening, you guys? Don't be worried. I have not totally reformed my ways. I was sitting, I was reading a book in bed, and my dog came up and was sitting on my lap, and then I was like, oh, I kind of want to work on my project, but I have my project bag next to me, but not the needles to pick up the stitches from the sleeves, but I did have a tapestry needle. So instead of waking up my dog and moving him over and getting myself out of bed and hunting down the needles that I needed for the sleeves, I just decided I was going to spend that time weaving in ends. So you guys, when I finish this sleeve, I will be done, which is a great feeling. Why don't I do that more often? So that's the spot sweater. It is coming along. I would imagine if I just work on this, it would probably be a little less than a week because I'm pretty slow on double points. I have a million double points going on here, but I'm pretty slow on those. So I think it would take me a bit to finish. But I love how it's turning out. My decreases are not exactly the same as the other side. I did mark them here. I'm sort of moving them over when I get to a decrease. But the problem is you have to decrease at the beginning of a round and at the end of a round when you get to a decrease row. And I always do the beginning of round one, but sometimes I forget to do the end of round one, which is sort of sad. It's not that big of a round. There's only a few stitches to get around the sleeve, but by the time I get to the end, a lot of times I forget. So I know I'm doing the first decrease sort of on schedule, but a lot of times my end of round decrease is done a couple of rows later once I realize my count is off. So I don't think it's turning out that much different. Like I tried to measure up and it seems to be still working, even if my increase rate is not identical. Who's gonna know, right? They're not, I won't tell. Please don't tell. It's just for me. So that's the spot setter. I haven't really done anything else. I know last time I showed my scrap blanket, the Excavation blanket, and I had all these grand plans. I don't know if you're like this. Whenever, especially for a stripey project, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do 16 rounds a day, and then I'll have a finished blanket by the end of August. And then I'm like, okay, well, these rounds are getting bigger. So like, I'll do 8 rounds a day. And then I'm like, wow, this is taking forever. Okay, I'll do 4 rows a day. Okay, I'll just do 1 row a day and I'll be done by the end of next year. So right now this project is kind of on the slow train. And at this rate, it won't be done until the end of 2022 or thereafter. But I'm not in a big rush. I do need to probably collect a few more scraps so that my blanket doesn't end up just gray and white by the end of it. So, I mean, it's not a big deal. We'll just sort of see where we end up at. So that's all I've got from a knitting perspective. Things are going well here. I've sort of recovered from dropping my kids off at camp. I think they're having a good time. The camp posted some pictures that I think are them. They're sort of like group shots, and my husband and I are squinting our eyes to see if we can see the back of their head in the background, but they seem to be alive and well and having a good time, so can't do better than that. This is a super quick one. I just want to get this out there so that the winners of the knit along know that they won and can send me their address so I can get these prizes off. And then maybe we can make some plans for the fall if we want to do some knitting together in the fall. So I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're having a great day and you're going to enjoy your holiday weekend. If you're in the States, it's 4th of July, so we get a nice long weekend. And if you're not, just have a good summer weekend. Or if you're somewhere far away and it's a winter weekend, have fun with that too. Happy knitting, you guys. Thanks so much for watching.